Hey ladies, welcome to It's Your Time, the space where we get real about midlife, reinvention and everything that makes us stronger.
Yes, I've lost a lot, but I've still got a lot to give. We just kept battling, but it just got to a point where I just couldn't do it anymore.
I'm Joanne, your trusted wing woman on this journey. And today, I'm joined by a woman who truly embodies resilience, a woman whose name became a global symbol of style and in its height over 130 shops in 65 countries, and whose journey shows us what it means to rebuild when life strips everything away. The incredible Karen Millen.
She's an entrepreneur, she's, this great business. I'm like, hang on. Yeah, it was a slow growth. Some people tend to think it was an overnight success, but we had a lot to learn. Time is a great healer. Allow yourself the time to deal with the situations and you will get through it.
Karen, thank you for saying yes. Thank you for bringing your honesty, your strength and your full self to this conversation. Hey ladies, if you're enjoying these incredible conversations with these phenomenal women, then please hit subscribe and follow across all platforms. It's such a small way that you can help me keep bringing you these amazing stories with these women who are truly rewriting what midlife means. It really helps me serve you so much better, and it helps to reach as many women that need to hear that little whisper at this exact moment in their life. It's your time. Karen Millen, I'm so happy to have you with me today. Thank you so much for being here.
It's a pleasure to be here.
I'm thinking back, a few months ago, we met up at the Dorchester, and the moment I saw you, it might be because I know you, but it just all over was just fashion icon, because you looked so stunning in what you were wearing. I don't even know if you can remember. You had like a pink jacket.
Well, it's funny because when you said that to me, I think you messaged me and said, I love what you wore when we met at the Dorchester. I thought, what was I wearing? But I had to look back at some photographs to remind myself. But I knew it was something was similar colour-wise to you, and you was wearing pink. So I thought, oh, that's it, my pink jacket. And I had burgundy leather jeans, I think, on.
Yeah, because you had a few different colours, but there was some overlapping, and it just all looked so good. And you had like a bag that came over. See, I was paying attention.
You were, weren't you?
Yeah, I was like, Karen, you look
effortless.
So good. Yeah. So what are you wearing today?
Actually, I'm wearing a bit of vintage today.
Okay.
So this is a very old Dolce & Gabbana jacket.
Right.
This is probably over 20 odd years old.
Is
probably
it?
25 plus. Yep. And actually, a waistcoat, it's a bit of my signature really, which was part of my founder collection that I did for Boohoo and Karen Millen. And just a pair of Zara linen trousers, black trousers.
My mum always used to say to me, it's not always what you wear, it's how you wear it. But I think you've got both going on for you, so that's amazing.
No, I think that's true. It is very much how you wear something, how you put things together, because, quite often I'm wearing pretty basic pieces, but it's just how you throw it together, I guess.
Yeah, and dress it up.
Yeah, and I think it's also how you carry yourself sometimes.
Exactly.
You've got to have a certain kind of attitude, I think.
As you know, the podcast is all about empowering midlife women, and I think sometimes your mindset is telling you that you don't look great. You can hunch over and you can just close yourself out, and then other people walk in full of confidence and they just exude their energy. So
yeah, and I think confidence comes from within, really. I think as long as we feel good within ourselves, look after ourselves, get plenty of exercise, eat the right things, then that shines through. But there's certain things that we still need help with.
Yeah, exactly. We're going to go into
we'll
that
get
in
to
a little
that later.
bit.
Yeah.
But I do want to ask you just about your clothes, because everyone laughs at me because I'm a bit of a hoarder. I have like emotional attachments to lots of things. And because I'm quite...
You're not alone.
And I'm little, like I don't tend to grow. Like my feet have been size 3 since I was 13.
I wish I could say the same.
And my dress size more or less, except when I was pregnant. So I hold on to lots of stuff where I've got other people that are so good going, nope, 6 months, I've not worn that, out it goes. So when you say you've had that for 20 odd years, what do you like?
Well, obviously a hoarder as well.
Okay. So it's not just a special piece, you've got lots of...
No, do you know what? Obviously over the years I've built up a large wardrobe, and I do let things go, but I find that certain things that, again, maybe have memories or I feel are quite special pieces that it's hard to let go, because I've always referenced it to... people say, you shouldn't hang on to these things. It's reference. I'm in that industry. It's reference. I might need it further down the line. And, I have to do my founder collection. I've gone back to some of the old pieces and drawn references from that. And I think for me, it's important. And I have so much fun out of pulling things from, out of an old wardrobe. It's almost, I get a sense of satisfaction more than actually buying a new piece. And you know what? It's like you kind of create a new style again all over. You don't have to wear it in the way perhaps you wore it 20 years ago.
Yeah.
So with additional new pieces, it can take on a kind of different look.
But some women really struggle with that, Karen. They really do. Just mixing things up or being a little bit adventurous. It's so easy to do. I think sometimes you just need a day where you just get everything out and try bits on.
Yeah, I think you should. I think we all need to do that. And I think as we get older, we change, our sizes change, and how we want to wear things and be perceived is different. And I think we should all stop and have those fun days of trying on things. Even I need that at times, because there's things now that I think, God, I could have worn that, but I don't think I can wear it now. And you start losing a sense of what to wear and how you should look. So I think even with your makeup, hair, everything, it's like you need to sort of take a bit of time and try new things and experiment a bit. It should be fun. Dressing should be fun.
Yeah, I think you can get so used to the way that you look a certain way that you can have. I've been saying for so long I just want to chop it all off, but then I'm like, I don't know.
I think we're talking about hair, aren't we?
Yeah. I want to chop my hair off and I just want to have a different look, but then you just end up just doing the same thing over and over. And even my daughter sometimes says, she's like, Mum, you wear going out in ripped jeans like that? They're quite high. So it's like, do I wear what I think a 48-year-old should wear, or do I just wear what I like? And I just wear what I like.
Well, I think that's how you should be, really. It's what you feel comfortable in. Yeah. But going back to that, from time to time, perhaps we should experiment a little bit and have a bit of fun, even if it's have some friends over or go shopping with your daughter or something, and just try different things that perhaps we wouldn't normally do on a day-to-day basis.
Yeah, experiment.
And
I
sometimes,
love that.
that's where, shop assistants can be helpful at times. And I've, in the past, because I kind of know my style and I know what I like and what I don't, I've not needed the help of an assistant. But from time to time, when someone says to me, try this, and I think, I don't wear print sort of thing, but put it on. And there was this one dress that I bought, and it was a Peter Pilotto dress, and on the hanger had no appeal, and it was printed, and I don't do prints very often.
Okay.
But I put it on and the shape was incredible. I loved it. And it just goes to show, if I hadn't tried it, I would never have bought it.
Because you can't always tell from the hanger how it will fit your shape.
No.
And I remember my wedding dress, actually. I remember them saying to me, don't just pick the ones that you think are exactly what you want. Just try it. And I ended up buying something
that you didn't think
which I didn't. So it is so true.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I love that. So, actually, I'm wearing Karen Millen today.
I see that.
I'm not sure it's a founder's piece. But
it's not a founder's piece, but it's one of their classics that, they continue to sell, and it always looks, everybody I see wearing it, they all look amazing. It's just the perfect dress, really.
Purchased a white one as well, which I wore for my OPE, and I knew that I wanted to wear something a little bit. And I remember then thinking, Karen Millen, I want to go and have a look at what Karen Millen's got. In fact, when I was 18, just turning 19... I started working in London for a radio station, and one of the things that really stuck out in my mind was I would travel on the train into London, and I would always see women, it was over Christmas period, wearing this beautiful cut black jacket, and I just remember thinking, I want that jacket. It looked very expensive, very sophisticated. I was only 18, and I remember one day stopping someone and asking them where it was from, and they said, it's a Karen Millen coat. And then I remember pottering over to Oxford Street one day and looking, I don't know, it must have been about 400 or 300. It was quite very expensive, I thought, for back then. And it was definitely something I could afford. And so Karen Millen always felt very special to me and something that I could never get. I love wearing little bits now, and knowing that it's got your name on it is amazing.
Thank you.
And look, in your absolute prime, Karen Millen, I need to get this right. I'm thinking around 130 stores in about 65 countries.
Sounds about right, yeah, when we sold it, yeah.
That is phenomenal.
Yeah, I mean, it's something I had never imagined would happen when we started. And it's funny, actually, because when I reflect back on that, and I didn't even have a business plan, which
We're going to go into that.
It seems bizarre, doesn't it, really? Yeah. Because, these days you're kind of told to build,
Yeah.
a business plan and have a vision. And really, it all kind of just organically happened to start with. Obviously, the business plans came into play once Kevin sort of got his, teeth into it and navigated our way through success, I suppose. But at the time, it wasn't something that I actually kind of really thought about. It was just a means of leaving college and having a job or doing something that I love doing. So it was, an unusual start, I guess.
So it was more of a passion project, doing something that you love, and then it just completely took off. And when you were at that point where you had all those stores, can you remember how you felt in that moment of success? Or was it just the next thing and the next thing? You know how we sometimes
I think that's
miss the
exactly what
moment?
it is. It's just you're on the roller coaster almost. And because the company grew very organically, so from being 19 and starting the business 20 years later, it was a slow growth. Some people tend to think it was an overnight success, but really for the first 10 years we were doing our apprenticeship and it was slow. We had 4 stores by the end of that, and we had a lot to learn.
So obviously being so successful, people are obviously going to assume, Karen, that you've got this great empire, this massive business that you built. So what an incredible businesswoman. So yes, you've got the creative flair and you're amazing in that part of it, but what an incredible businesswoman. But I know you weren't really, were you?
No, and I don't hide that, And
I know, and you shouldn't.
I get a little bit embarrassed when people say, oh, she's an entrepreneur, she's, this great business. I'm like, hang on, that's where I get that imposter syndrome, I think, really, because people, assume I'm this really, amazing businesswoman. I'm not, I'm a creative, and I was very lucky to meet my partner at the beginning, and he brought something to the table that I didn't have, and I brought the other half. So, we worked really well together. We had the right ingredients to create something successful. In a way, I wish I'd probably got a little bit more involved in the business side of things, but it's really hard, I think. You're just doing it, the two of you. You've got so much to do. You don't have time to do everything. So I think you've got to stay, focused on the things that you're good at, and hope that the person that you're working with, your partner, is good at the other things. And that's the way it was, really.
Yeah. And what's your view on that now? Because I'm about to launch a business for the first time in my life, 2 years off 50. And for a long time, I'm telling everyone, for a long time,
And you should.
I've had this voice in my head, Karen, that's literally said, you can only work for someone else because you could never have your own business because you're not a businesswoman, you're not very good with numbers, get a little bit flustered around it. So it sits in the too hard basket, or it sits in the basket for someone else. And I suddenly got to a point to go, right, no, yes, I'm turning 50 in a few years. I don't want to do a bungee jump or go and climb Mount Everest. I want to challenge myself on the voice that has told me the whole time I'm not good at this. I'm going to do it. So it's never too late either, is it?
Yeah, any age. And I think now particularly, and I keep telling myself this at the age of 63, that it's never too late. And I think, there's so much of a move towards longevity anyway, and we are sort of living longer and better lives, hopefully, and will do so because there's, a lot more going into that.
Yeah.
So I have to keep telling myself, look, come on, that there's more you can do and it's not too late.
There's a lot of women as well, Karen, who depend often on their significant other, their husband, to actually take care of the finances or just be in charge of that part of it. And again, I just think there's more and more women now realising that actually they need to stand in their power. And again, it doesn't have an age limit on this where they can actually start to learn it. And yet again, that's been me. Whereas for a long time, it was always about relying on someone else because it was too hard. And suddenly I've thought, no, I need to get a grip of this for myself as an individual, as my own entity. Like, how important do you think it is for women?
I think it's important, but it's hard at times. As I said, you can't do everything. We haven't got the ability to do everything, to do everything really well. It's only sort of more lately that I found myself in a position where I need to take control of my own financial matters.
Yep.
Because from the age of 19, I met my partner who looked after that. We lived a life together and he would look after that side of things. So I never had to. And then beyond that, I had, after selling the company, I could afford people to look after my affairs, or at least I thought, that was the right thing to do, because I felt I wasn't really qualified to manage my financial affairs. So I left that in the hands of others, stupidly, really.
Yeah, which is where I think it comes in, knowing it, because it's so much more than money or finance. It's about trust and confidence in yourself and power and control, so that you can make certain decisions, because that isn't left to someone else. Talk me through what happened, because I know you have had an incredible journey, but I know it also came crashing down, and this was one of the reasons, if not the reasons why.
As I said, I'd never really looked at the finance side of our business or my life, really. And then when we sold the company in 2004, I invested in I guess really at the time I was being guided still by Kevin, because I'd always looked upon him to look after my financial affairs. We had 3 children together, and I think he wanted to make sure that I wasn't going to invest in things that would lose my wealth.
So you sold the business. It was sold in 2 parts, but in 2004 it was sold in excess of 100 million.
Yeah.
So you'd made that sale, and then this is the part we're getting onto now.
So for the first few years, I enjoyed my wealth and did all the things that people would only dream of, probably. Even so, I didn't really enjoy those first years anyway, because I was still struggling with the fact that I'd gone through the separation. I was no longer working. I was just battling with my own, who was I? I was finding it quite hard to come to terms with, after 20 years, just working and bringing up 3 children. I just needed some time to reflect and find out, who am I? Where I should have been enjoying at that time, I felt I wasn't particularly happy.
Sounds like a very overwhelming time, where there was a lot of change.
I did find it overwhelming, and I also felt that I'd been thrown out and left to get on with it. I didn't know how to be. It sounds ridiculous and stupid, but I didn't know how to be having that sort of amount of money. So, of course, you surround yourself with people that are supposed to advise you, help you. And the person that I trusted most probably would have been Kevin, because I'd trusted him for 20 years and had no reason not to, because I knew he was only looking after my best interests, as he was his. So things that happened and went wrong for him too. But we probably got too involved with a certain sort of people that didn't have our best interests at heart. And in turn, I ended up being advised to do something to offset some tax that we'd got from our first sale of the company, deferred it into an offshore trust, which was to be paid later on. And that was the advice we were given. You can pay this later. It's not that you're not going to pay it, you're going to pay it later. So when we sold the second part, the tax off that we paid straight away. It was just this first part. It's really sort of, when I look at the timeline, it was only, so we sold that in 2004. And then in 2008, there was a crash with the banks and all the investments that I had, at which point then I didn't have the money to pay for the tax.
Right. Okay.
And that's what got me into trouble.
Can I be bold and ask you, what did you lose?
Everything.
You talked about a time where you're should be sitting on top of the world, and actually it's so overwhelming, but you are in a very positive space still, to then come crashing down and almost feel like you're back at square one. I know you're a very resilient woman, because we've talked about this in the past, but how do you deal with that?
It is hard, and that period of time, which lasted probably 10 years, because I was still trying to keep my head above water and make things, turn things around. And again, with the help of Kevin, because he was going through similar things. He was fighting my cause, and we just kept battling. But it just got to a point where I just couldn't do it anymore. And the only decision was to end it with bankruptcy. And it wasn't really until that I could accept what had happened. And I think once you do accept it, it helps you move forward.
Although it was a huge loss, did it offer some relief to just think this is for 10 years is a long time. The amount of stress that probably put on you, especially when you're raising the children as well and doing everything else, was, I can only imagine. Yeah,
it was stressful. But I think when it actually happened, there's a certain amount of relief. But at the same time, you know, even now I can look back and I find it hard, but I've accepted it. And I think once you've accepted it, I think you then can sort of move on. And I think having your family and friends around, the important people around you, help you get through those times.
It really highlights as well what's priceless in life. And I think, you know, even just your children, I'm sure as mums, we both have so much joy from our children that everything else, there's nothing in the world that you could buy that could match that.
No, exactly. I mean, it puts things into perspective. And I think, you know, yes, I've lost a lot, but I've still got a lot to give. And I'm still the same person. And I think having come from a very humble beginnings, my feet have always been firmly on the ground. And I think that's helped me also, you know, carry on, really.
When you did sell the business, Karen, you also sold your name along with that. That feels to me quite difficult because that name holds so much, and that is your name.
It does, and I think at the time I underestimated much, well, what that would mean, because I think at that point in time I didn't think I'd need it. I didn't think I'd want it. I was exhausted by it all, and I was ready to turn my back on the whole thing. And bearing in mind, I was only 40, really, just in my early 40s. So it was a crazy thing for me to think, but that's, you know, in that moment in time, I didn't think too much beyond, you know, what happened then and the consequences of it. But now, obviously, that I need to work.
You want your name back.
It's not that I want my name back. It's just, I think, obviously, when you sell a company, you're selling the name to it. That's the value, and I understand that. But I think it's how tightly it was tied down, and how much it prohibited me from doing other things. And I think I wish I'd looked into that more at the time. And again, you know, people around you, the people that you've got there that are advising you to help you sort of through that time. And I didn't look at it. My head was not in the right place at the time. And since, obviously, it's hard to move on if I want to use my name in any shape or form, even to collaborate with people. You know, people want the name, but I can't use that name. So, you know, it becomes difficult.
I know when we spoke, when we had our tea, you talked to me about being quite resilient. How did you cope in all these different moments in life when it was really, really tricky? Can you sometimes hold on to too much then?
I probably do and have done at times. And maybe that's why it's taken me longer to get through the whole process. I've never reached out for help. It's been self-help, because I have the belief that once you've accepted what's happened, you have two choices, really. And I know that it's a temporary thing. It's not going to last forever. You can move on and you can get through this. So it's just being strong enough to sort of tell yourself, you know, it won't get better overnight. We all make mistakes. It's okay.
Yeah, of course
just,
it is.
You know, let's just put it in the past. Learn from your lessons and move on.
Oh, exactly. Most definitely not. How do you actually then de-stress? So obviously life is still a journey. We don't know what's ahead of us. And do you know, Karen, I think it's over 50, there's 50% more women that die of heart attack than men. People always assume it's men. And a lot of that is actually stress related. And people, I don't think, they underestimate how much stress. I feel like men can focus on one thing. They can be angry about one thing, or they can be stressed about one thing.
We're multitaskers,
but we're just like spinning plates, and it's difficult. And we carry a lot sometimes with a lot of grace. But there's a lot that sometimes is going on underneath that people don't even see or understand or would know, because I think we mask it so well. And I'm just trying to understand for you, because you have been on an incredible journey of some incredible highs, but some moments you really had to dig deep and be resilient. I just want to understand how you pick yourself up and keep going.
Stepping away from things and just taking time. And I think just reminding yourself that time is a great healer. Don't expect things to get better overnight. Allow yourself the time to grieve or to, you know, deal with the situations, and you will get through it. I think it's always in my head, it's this moment in time, it will get better. I just keep telling myself that. And generally it does. I mean, time's a great healer. And all the time you sit there picking away at a scab, it will never heal. So I try not to pick at that scab.
Sitting here, you're such an incredible woman. I've known you for a few years now, and you wouldn't be who you are right now, Karen, had all of that not happened.
No, absolutely. And I think that's the other reason why, you know, it helps you get through these moments, is because, you have to battle difficulties throughout your life. And it's just a moment in time, and it's part of, navigating your way through life, really. It makes you who you are. And I've learned a lot through the challenges I've faced. And I think it's made me a better person. As I'm getting older, I feel a lot wiser.
You're feeling a bit wiser?
Yeah, a lot wiser. But there's still, you're always learning all the time, and still make mistakes, and still, it's endless and it's exhausting at times, but that's life, isn't it?
It shapes you.
Yeah.
I have been through some incredible moments in my life where I have seen darkness that I didn't even know was possible, and felt emotions I didn't even know existed. And when I look at myself today, I know I would be a completely different person had I not gone through that. And I'm so grateful for who I am because of that. I'm not grateful for this situation.
No.
Could I go back in time and do anything in my power to change? Of course I would.
Yeah.
But am I grateful for having a better perspective, a better view on life, empathy, looking at the world with eyes of humanity? Like, I'm a better human. The rest of my life will be better because of it. So with Kevin, something else that I heard the other day was that menopausal women, like the divorce rates are just going through the roof. And it's as though women are going through this sudden moment in time where they're thinking, I don't know, they're just realising who they are. Was it the pressure of work, or did you just grow apart? And how did you deal at the time with separating, and how are things now?
Probably because we were so young and we did so much together, achieved so much, we ended up naturally sort of just growing apart, becoming different people. It's I don't know, I think it was inevitable really that it was going to happen. At the time, it was hard. I mean, it was hard on, you have 3 children, it's hard on them. And it's never pleasant, I don't think. I mean, it's unusual if you can separate and it will be happy and rosy. But the reality, it isn't. And you go through periods of time when it's just a nightmare and it's horrible. Now we are at a point where, we've got respect for each other, and we're okay.
And it's the children as well, isn't it? You're still their mum and Kevin's still their dad. And so it's nice to know that. I have heard horror stories where they're just in the middle, and there's just so much animosity and so much hate, and it has such an effect on these beautiful little beings that you brought into the world and grow as adults, and the knock-on effect that has on their relationships.
Yeah, it's very sad.
What about men? Are you in a relationship now?
I have been in a relationship for the past 12 years or so, although at the moment it's difficult because it was a long distance relationship.
Okay.
He lived in Australia.
Okay.
So you couldn't get much further. But it worked. But it's become a bit more difficult and challenging the last couple of years since COVID, really, because we've spent less time together. I've needed to sort of start working now.
Yep.
He's having to work harder. And our works are very different. And because we're in different countries, it's made it very difficult to maintain the relationship.
Okay.
But we're still trying to work things out and keep going.
Is there a chance that you will go there or he will come here, or is that the tricky part?
Yeah, I mean, it is tricky for lots of reasons. And I don't imagine that he will come. I quite like the idea of just being, in all 3 places, lots of different places, really. But I don't know if that can actually work. Depends on, where I land with work as well. So let's just evolve and see what happens.
It sounds like quite a good setup, though, because I've met women who have separated or divorced, and suddenly, from not wanting to be alone, they gain this huge amount of independence, and actually they suddenly love time on their own, and they love independence, they love making their own decisions. And it's almost like if they could have someone that wasn't there all the time, that would actually be...
I hear that more and more as well,
Do you?
particularly in women of my age.
Yeah.
And I think for me particularly, I had 12 years on my own. So without a relationship, or, I had relationships, but nothing serious really. So I had time to get used to being on my own and making decisions of my own and living my own life. So, you know, this long distance relationship kind of worked for me because I had the best of both. But it, you know, I think it's all down to individuals, isn't it? You know, what works for one couple might not work for another. And for me personally, yeah, it's working pretty well. But I think for him, he struggles more with it. And I get that. And so I think it can work if you're both on the same, you know, have this, yeah.
Obviously, our lives are so enriched by so many different people in our lives, and we touched on it earlier, but our children bring us so much joy. But you've obviously already gone through this ahead of me, but you know, they're young and they need you and you're there all the time, and then suddenly they don't need you. And it's that whole empty nest.
They always need you.
Yeah, I was going to say, because if I think about my own mum, I know it's gone full circle, but it's a different, there is a moment where suddenly think, they don't need me anymore, they don't love me.
Believe me, they'll come back.
Will they? Tell me about the three. So who's your eldest?
Josh, who... he lives in Abu Dhabi. He's just got married, so obviously I don't see him so much. But we always FaceTime, and that's a great thing these days. You know, you can live in different countries, but you can FaceTime or whatever.
It's not like back in the day, like airmail would take 7 days to get there.
It's great actually, and he's backwards and forwards a bit, and I can go there, so it's good. And then there's my daughter who lives in London, so I see a lot. And she's my soulmate, really. We're very close.
You look like sisters, and you do so much together, don't you?
We do a lot together. I mean, she's really got my back, and I love her to bits. But I love all of them, obviously. But she's. It's lovely having a daughter amongst the two boys. Yeah. So my youngest one, he's actually still living with me.
Is he?
Yeah, at the age of 28.
All right.
So in and out. I don't see him an awful lot, but he's still based with me.
That's really lovely, and I'm glad they come back.
When they want something.
Yeah, exactly.
No, they're good. We are a close family, yeah.
And do you still have your mum?
I do, yes. Okay. She's 86.
And is she close, logistically?
Yeah, well, she's just moved, actually, a little bit further away. She's about 50 minutes away, but... I see her most weeks, I think, really. She's actually got, because I lost my father when he was 55, so pretty young. So she went on to, 7 years later, met somebody else, and who's actually her junior by 15 years, I think he's.
Oh, wow.
So she's got a toy boy.
Oh, good for her, good for mum. It's funny because I was talking to someone about this just the other day on a podcast. Do you think that has kept her, without sounding, do you think that's kept her sort of young?
I don't know. I think my mum would have been young anyway.
Okay.
She's got those genes, I think. And
right.
I like to think I take after her, really, in that respect. I mean, she still walks. She plays badminton still. So she's pretty active, you know. She does, what she can. And I think, yes, having a younger man take care of her is good, but I think he's probably older for his years and she's a bit younger, so they come in the middle and it seems to work. But I think now she's got to that point where he'd like to travel a little bit more, but she's like, no, I've done all the travelling now, I don't want to be doing that. So so he has to accept that, I think, or go somewhere on his own, go off on his, he does different bits and pieces on his own, which is all healthy.
Yeah, it is. And it's so, I feel like there isn't so much of a textbook and a manual now. Like, people are doing things their own way a little bit now, and colouring outside the lines, and it's okay.
Yeah, it's okay. There's no rights or wrongs.
No, just go live your life, what makes you happy. And has she been quite an influential woman in your life?
I think she probably has, without me actually thinking, oh my God, I look up to my mum.
Yeah,
she's creative. She's not creative. Okay. I mean, she was the one there sewing clothes and, knitting and probably helped me in terms of getting on my career path. We're actually very different. We're very similar, but we're very different.
Okay. So,
I mean, I think...
Does that mean that it works better, or does that mean that you, growing up, often clashed?
No, we've never clashed.
Oh, okay.
Never. We've always got on. We're just quite different. Maybe not in our thoughts, but more, I suppose, as a creator, she's just not creative, really. No. She doesn't... So I think I'm talking more aesthetically. She's not kind of...
Right, okay.
she doesn't quite get it.
Okay.
Whereas for me, it's, it's a big deal.
What about raising children? So, for example, the way that my mum brought myself up, there's so many values that I definitely want to pass on to my daughter, and I have. But then there's certain things that I think, no.
I think when you're young, until you reach adulthood, you kind of think your parents, you think you should be the same as your parents, and you believe and listen to them. But it's only when you actually reach adulthood, or maybe have children of your own, you actually think, I don't quite agree with that now. The main thing is, they brought us up to have belief and be good people, really. Yeah. And they're very grounded, very down to earth, hardworking. And I think it's all those things, really, that really have embedded themselves within me, staying grounded. And I think, as I said earlier, having my feet on the ground has helped me through the difficult parts of my life. So I think, I definitely have them to thank for that.
I'm really sorry that you lost your dad at such a young age.
Yeah, it's sad, but and he never really got to see the success that we went on to build, which I feel sad about, or, watch his grandchildren grow up.
But you've got mum, and I think we are actually really blessed, those of us that still have a parent or both parents still here. So then moving on a little bit cheekily to losing the way we look as we get older. So women are obsessed with it. No matter what anybody says, you do. Literally today, Karen, I'm so tired. I've had back-to-back days, and when you're just kind of at the end of the tether with a lot of things. And I went to do something on my phone, and face recognition wouldn't work.
Yeah, I get that sometimes as well.
Even they can't recognise my face because I'm so tired. But we do age, and we do feel some days like, who is that?
Exactly. Yeah.
I really want to unpack this and go deep now, because I was so excited when you told me that you had a facelift, and I just want to understand all of it. So how you were feeling before you had it, and now you've had it and you look flipping incredible. So let's go back. What made you have it?
Just looking in the mirror and not liking what I see, I think was the result of it. But I think it creeps up on us, doesn't it? And I think particularly, during menopause, you see changes that you don't like. And they're not just, changes within yourself, they're outward changes.
Yeah.
And it really hit me sort of when I sort of turned 59, 60.
Right.
I kind of just, I looked in the mirror and I could see, real visible changes. I don't think I've ever been blessed with great skin anyway.
Okay.
So I felt that, I've always tried to look at, after myself in terms of my skin, and but that all came later in life because, again, we weren't aware of the damages we were doing to our skin when we were younger. Too much sun.
Yeah.
We weren't educated with the harmful rays and everything else. And so, it was later in life when you start thinking, I've got to do something about this. And sometimes it's all a bit too late, isn't it?
And there's so much out there now as well with aesthetics, and the people are saying, Botox, don't ever do Botox, fillers, never touch fillers. And I think there's all this noise. Start early, don't do it too late.
Yeah,
and it's
there is.
Yeah.
But I think, there's also a lot of research that can guide us with making the right choices. And I think if you can do as much preventative stuff beforehand, then that's great. Eat healthy, exercise. I think I can't emphasize that, more, that they are very important. What we put inside our bodies, how we, perform, how we look, all of those things. But there's, you do get to a certain age where, things aren't, you can only do so much. And I think I reached that point where I need some extra help.
And you're talking just about your face, aren't you? Because I've seen on Instagram, you're a bit of a fitty. I've seen you doing your weights and thinking, God, how's she doing that? So your body, you're eating well, you're exercising. So was it literally just what you were looking, your reflection at your face, that you were thinking, this has changed?
Yeah. And as I said, it's you can do so much.
Yeah.
And then there's certain things that you can't, diet and exercise are not going to help. Well, they help to a certain degree, and then you need something a little bit more.
So when you were looking at having a facelift, what were you hoping for, but I'm guessing you were also hoping that was going to make you feel better.
Yeah, because what you see in the mirror, reflects how you feel within. I was obviously conscious that I didn't want to change who I am and how I looked.
Yeah.
I just wanted to wind back the clock a little bit.
And it's done exactly that, hasn't it? Because you look exactly
yeah.
like Karen, except
a bit younger, a bit more. I think it's important to do your research and make sure that you've got the right surgeon. And there's so much more advanced technology and help with, all of the kind of treatments that we can have. It's not just, you don't have to go to the extreme of having a facelift surgery. But I think I tried a lot of other things and I thought, they're all quite costly.
Yeah.
And where they give you great results temporarily, some of them I needed to go that bit further.
Well, that's what I was going to say, because I'm not actually that familiar with facelifts. So was it a long, painful, intrusive procedure, firstly?
Do you know what? No, it wasn't. And I think what is incredible is how quickly our bodies heal from, surgery. The operation, I think, was about 2 or 3 hours. Okay. And you just got to allow yourself a couple of weeks to, for the swelling to go down, the bruising to go down. And after that, really, you might be a little bit swollen still, a bit bruised, but you can cover it up. You can get on with your life. And to be honest, it wasn't painful. It was uncomfortable, but I wouldn't say painful.
Can you remember how many weeks it was until everything kind of settled and you maybe glanced at yourself in the mirror and thought, hello, oh, I like you?
Again, because it's sort of every day, you're kind of looking at yourself every day, looking for what's the improvement today and taking photographs. Yeah, I think, I was back out there after 10 days. I had a meeting at work. Yeah. So I went with some glasses on.
10 days?
So I was still a bit puffy, but I felt I could go out and still, carry on with life. It wasn't like I looked horrendous.
Yeah.
And I, nobody questioned it. So, it really is minimal downtime. I think, for the results that you get. It was all about rejuvenating. It wasn't just doing a facelift. It was about fat transfer and about stem cell treatment.
Right.
So there's a lot gone into all of this, and I just loved what he was saying. It all made sense because, he explained that, as you get older, your bones resorb. Yeah. And so it's all very well, yes, we lose collagen and the skin starts to sag, but actually your bones have resorbed. So, your skin is going to sag. So it's about building the bones back up. And by stem cell treatment and fat transfer, they can resculpt the face and it goes on to rejuvenating.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So it's ongoing almost. And I was like, that's incredible.
Knowledge is power, isn't it? And I think that's where sometimes it goes wrong, where people don't do enough research. They're looking for who can do it the quickest or the cheapest. And that's when you really, really have to be so careful and really take your time to find the right person.
Well, definitely. When you're undergoing something like that, you do really need to do your research and make sure that you're ready for it. I'm one of these people that tries not to think too much about something until it's happened. Okay. I don't look at the negatives in things. I try to look at positives.
Okay, that's really powerful.
Everything, actually. Otherwise, you just worry. I try not to be a worrier. Unless something's happened, don't worry about it.
That's powerful, because a lot of people, I think, I know I certainly am, where it's like, okay, what could go wrong?
Yeah,
or
no,
it's always preventative.
And it is scary. If you think about it, it's scary, what you're going through. And will you like what you see when you come out the other side, and will it go wrong? And there's all these questions that you ask yourself, but I just couldn't go there. Obviously I could see the work he'd done, and I love what he was saying, and I had, you just have to put your trust in these people. And long gone are the days of some of the horror stories that we used to hear about, and I think things have come on a long way, and I just felt like it was in the best hands.
And that's what I love about you. That's why I'm so excited to speak to you about this, because I think it's so empowering for women to be brave. If there's something that they really want to do, go do your research, go find the right person. Don't think too much about it. Just go do it for yourself. Yeah,
it's definitely empowered me in the sense of how I feel. And I think it came at an important time whereby, going back into work and being back out there, if you like, being visible again, it meant that I needed to feel good about myself, not only internally but visibly. I needed to feel good when I'm in front of a camera or talking to people.
Yeah.
And I think by having the surgery, it's really enabled me to feel, much more confident in myself.
Good for you, Karen. And you look incredible. So
Thank you.
So something that I ask a lot of the ladies when they come on to the podcast is, I love my music. And so I now have a little Spotify playlist with It's Your Time podcast on it, and all the ladies have talked to me about a song that's has been meaningful to them in their lifetime, whether it's a happy moment, a sad moment. We've had people crying and laughing and all sorts, and it's just my little guilty pleasure because I love music, but I love the emotion and the stories behind it. So I want to ask you, I'm sure there's a whole collection. Actually, I do see on your Instagram a lot of good tunes. I think, oh, Karen, I'll save that one. I like that.
And yes, I love music too. I mean,
Yeah.
and the thing is, that's a hard one to actually come up with something, because I do like lots of different genres of music, and it depends on your, mood at the time of the year even.
If you had to pick one song that maybe was going to tell us, like, the soundtrack or the song to your life, I mean, that's even harder question probably, but
Well, it is even harder.
Yeah.
But I did. So when I looked at that question, I thought, oh God, and I was listening to music at the time.
Yeah,
and this
yeah.
one come up, and I thought, that's it. That's the one.
I'm excited.
That'll do.
Yeah.
I have to remember what it's called now, so because
But you'll have
I'm
to-
terrible. But it's a Celeste one with black coffee.
So what's the song?
Black coffee and Celeste, ready for you.
Okay.
It just kind of, the words just resonated at the time, and I thought, yeah, I'm ready for you.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I just like Celeste anyway.
Okay. I'm gonna add that to my playlist. Do you feel like it encompasses what's going to happen next? Like you're ready for this next chapter of life?
Yeah, I think so. I've got to go out there now, full steam ahead, and just get on with life and see what the future brings. And hopefully it's all good.
Oh, I know it's just going to go from strength to strength, and I'm excited to watch your journey keep evolving.
I feel like there's still so much more I can give, and
gosh.
I just, I don't feel settled. I need to do something. So
Yeah.
I'm ready. I'm ready to do something.
It's not even as though it's like, this is chapter 1 and now we're moving into chapter 2. It's like, no, now it's time to rewrite a whole new book
Yeah.
and do this a whole new way. And you've got you're rocking a whole new look as well. And whole new energy as well. So
I think it's definitely a new energy. Yeah.
yeah, you're going to absolutely smash it, Karen. If little Karen was sitting here now and I disappeared, and having gone through all the highs and lows and all the great lessons that you've learned in life and sitting there with so much wisdom, if there was one thing that you could possibly say to little Karen about the life that she's about to leave, what do you think you'd say to her?
Well, I've got a letter, but it's quite long.
Oh, please, I would love that.
But I've written this before, so but it is the
No,
letter, so
it's perfect.
I'm going to have to put my glasses on
Yeah,
to read.
go for it. I'm as blind as a bat nowadays,
Yeah,
anyway.
I know, it just gets worse, believe me. But, so, right, here's my letter to my 19-year-old self.
Oh, are you going to make me cry? Do I need a Kleenex?
Oh, I don't know.
Okay.
No.
Okay.
Right. Dear Karen, you could never imagine what lies ahead of you, and what you will achieve from humble beginnings is really quite extraordinary. Nevertheless, with the highs will come the lows. You'll make some big mistakes, but that's okay. You learn to live with them, because without the mistakes, you may not be the person you are today. They are part of the narrative that creates our story. You will become stronger, enriched, considered, more appreciative, and this experience will help guide you in the right direction going forward. There's a few key points before I start. Never underestimate yourself. Don't be afraid to ask if you don't understand. Keep a diary because your memory is shocking. Push yourself outside of your comfort zone. Be respectful. Don't isolate yourself. Remember, no one's perfect. Be more aware. Learn to laugh at yourself more. Treat people in the way in which you want to be treated. Learn to challenge yourself. Don't put things off. Don't be afraid to voice your opinion. Be kind and considered. Trust your gut instinct and stay true to yourself. As you are about to embark on your life's journey, I just want to tell you that you have been blessed in so many ways. You are incredibly strong. You have a loving family who are always there to support you and have given you the tools to understand life, to be a good person, to work hard, to stay true to yourself, to value life and never take anything for granted. But you do have to take responsibility for your actions After all, we all make mistakes. Remember, not everyone is honest and trustworthy. Not everyone has your best interests, so be aware. You will learn this the hard way, especially financially. You're soon to meet a man that shares your career journey, and together you will build your empire and have 3 beautiful children. But don't underestimate how exhausting bringing up 3 young children and working full-time to build a business can be. You are both young and achieve so much, but it will come at a cost. The price will be your breakup. But remember, you are very young and have achieved so much in your 20 years. So your lives begin to drift in different directions. The split was inevitable and is probably part of the reason you both decided to sell your company. Soon after, as it reaches a great high and the offer seems too good an opportunity to miss. Despite what should be a celebration, you'll fall into a dark space, trying to come to terms with the loss of both your relationship and your business, your whole purpose in life and the only thing you know. You'll reflect and think how crazy and how sad to have come too far as one and then not be able to share the rewards together. But you know this is the right decision. It will take some time to find your strength and build on your own self-esteem. Financially, the rewards are there, and for a few years you will enjoy the freedom that this wealth has allowed you. You'll indulge in luxuries most would only dream about. But I'm pleased your feet have always remained on the ground, which turns out to have been critical in dealing with the time ahead. You'll be told that you are financially secure and you'll never have to worry about it again, which is a joy to your ears as you never were great with numbers and left that to others. Big bad mistake, which cost you everything, including your family home. You can be proud too of how you managed to cope with this loss and also the effect it has had on your family, in particular your 3 children, who stay completely dignified, despite the huge loss to them too. Hang on. They remain strong and give you a reason to ride the storm. You will have the support of great friends and realise that friends are incredibly precious and that as a friend you must value their being at all times. During a lengthy period of uncertainty, you will meet a new partner who is kind and considerate. He will help support you during this challenging time. He will be the strength, the light and the distraction you need. He will show you a world away from the chaos and become the respite you need. In time, you will come to terms with your loss, and so you pick yourself up and go again, returning to your founding brand to collaborate on the Founders Collections, giving you 2 years of secure work and a platform to rise again. It's time to immerse yourself into new chapters, push yourself outside your comfort zone and be prepared to try new things. You'll find your confidence and grow into a much stronger, more empowered individual. More importantly, you will start to know your value and appreciate what you have achieved. You have so much more to give, and only you can make this happen. Know that you are loved, know your worth and your strength. You will soon realise that you still have a life to live with new adventures and experience to explore. It's the next chapter. Don't waste it.
Thank you so very much for sharing that. And you did make me cry. That's it. There's so much to you, Karen. There's so much that you've done and there's so much still ahead of you. And I think the most beautiful thing is that you're surrounded by people that you love and all this wisdom that every single word that you said in that letter just spoke absolute volumes. Karen Millen, OBE, an absolute treasure. I'm so proud to have had you on It's Your Time. And thank you so much for being here.
Thank you, Joanne. I've enjoyed being here. Thank you.
Karen, I am so grateful for this honest and really powerful conversation. You've reminded us that losing it all, it doesn't have to mean losing yourself, and that reinvention at any age is always possible. So to everyone listening, it's your time to own your story, your choices, and your future.